Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the end of all of this, which is volume two, season four of Stranger Things. What's going on, everybody? We're back.
How y'all doing?
I'm still recovering. What?
So, just a quick question. I think it's a good icebreaker. How many of you guys actually stood up at 3 o'clock East Coast time to watch both episodes, or did you kind of break it up and then watch it? How did y'all? So, okay, Keaton, what was your experience?
I set my alarm it was a whole thing. I set my alarm for 2:55 a.m. and the alarm ringtone was running up that hill. Like I went all in on it. And so yeah, I got up at 3. We started it at 3 a.m. and got done sometime around like 7. So I 8 and 9 just watched it all the way through. And then, of course, my 2-year-old woke up, so I watched him. And so by the time I got to bed that night, I'd been awake almost 24 hours. Like it was a day.
Goodness. What about everybody else?
I did not stay up. I wound up watching it way later than I anticipated. Um, I mean, fortunately, I work from home, but yeah, I was trying to log off early and it just was not happening. So I watched it as soon as I could on Friday evening. Um, so yeah.
Okay. What
My
about you, Aunt?
my sleep schedule is kind of off. I'm on medically prescribed drugs, so 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 I woke up around 4 a.m. and I was like, "Is this Stranger Things up?" Trying to start watching it. I am pretty sure I was creating scenes that weren't there, so I had to rewatch like scenes over and over again until I got the right the right reality. And it was great. It was great. One of my best
And,
experiences ever.
and it was like, what? This ain't the rescuers down under?
Oh man, yeah, that's man. Yeah, you probably had the most craziest trip watching this, especially episode nine, which we'll get
Yes.
into the craziness that was episode nine.
Vecna was there.
Um,
I was like, man, you look good in that scene, man. How you do that? Oh man, it was like I was like, oh, cool, cool.
Oh man. So yeah, I think one of the interesting backdrops. Well, we're going to be talking about you guys, just so you guys know for disclaimer. We're going to be talking about episodes 8 and 9. Whether or not we go and retouch on episode 9, it'll probably just be me because I'm going to probably leave a little bit later, because my son is definitely going to wake up soon. But episode 8 started off with a crazy note in the sense that Hop, he kind of went upstairs. He was looking to see what was going on, and he found out that not only did they have extra creatures alive, but the mind flare was located in the Russian facility. And so, he initially killed off the little baby one, but he realized very soon that this was about to be insane. And he really didn't understand the gravity of it because simultaneously, while where he was there, Demogorgons were there, the mind flare was there, but also the rest of the team were trying to figure out how they could effectively stop or at least subdue Vecna because they realized that Vecna, yes, he was in the upside down, but while he was doing what he was doing, he had to be just like the same thing that L does, where he cannot go anywhere. He has to be able to be stable while they're doing it. So the team thought, and I don't know if you guys feel like that was a good idea or not. How do you guys feel about the plan in general? But the fact was that they were like, well, we're going to go into the upside down and kill him while somebody, is in the upside down distracting him and somebody on the other side is distracting him at the same time. How did y'all feel about the plan in general? Did y'all feel like the plan made sense? Did
It
y'all feel
felt
like it was like rushed? I was curious y'all's perspective on the plan.
it felt contrived to me, but at the same time, like it it felt like it worked out way too well that they all were doing this at the exact same time at the exact right moments. Like that felt a little bit contrived, but at the same time I thought about it, I'm like maybe it's not going on at the same time. This is just how they shot it and put it together because that was one thing that made it feel like it wasn't as long as it was the fact that they kept switching. Like they literally had four different storylines going at one time. It's like, oh, this is what they're doing, oh, this is what they're doing, oh, this is what's going on, and it kept building up to the point where you were scared for all four timelines at the same all four things at the same time. I'm like, man, I need Xanax after this. Like, good lord.
Right.
I love the plan because one, especially when they were talking about weaknesses, like we know Elle's weaknesses. They're like, what weaknesses? We seen her do all this stuff, and it's like, and then you start working through. It's like, yeah, they set this up. This all made sense in how we've seen Elle use her powers going forward. I mean, from the past. So it made sense of how they exploited the one weakness they had. And this is pure 80s moment. You're dealing with some high school bully. You're also a bunch of kids with a bunch of like ragtag equipment made out of what's laying around the house. This is like Monster Squad and what's one Fred Sandwich with the monsters under the bed thing. This is like all that rolled into one and taking on Freddy Krueger. Like this was great to me. And you had Russians because they were the bad guys of the 80s, so you had the Russian things going on. The only thing that kind of fell into place for me was I had to check out these time zones because I don't think it's dark in all the same places at all the same time. But besides that, I love it. It was pure. To me, this is kind of like if you had an 80s collection of just the best 80s movies or TV series or whatever, you just slip some Stranger Things inside this. This counts. It was made in the 2000s, whatever, but it just counts to me. So I loved it.
Yeah, when me and Eris, we watched episode 9 together, and we both came to consensus that initially when Stranger Things started like season 1, it's like Stranger Things is awesome because it's everything 80s, but now that they're in episode or season 4, it's kind of like it's everything awesome. Like it's got every deliverable that you want. Like it's entertaining, it's funny, it's hardcore 80s, but it's metal. Like they have everything that you really love about everything. Like whether you're a horror fan, whether you're adventure fan, whether you're just love entertainment, whether you like seeing kids in a situation, like the show as a whole, like it's just, I don't know, it's evolved. With the kids evolving, it's evolved to the point that everybody can find something to love about this show.
And it
outside of just the era.
It galvanized tropes that we've seen so many times before, but they're doing it in an interesting way still. You know what I mean? Like we've seen the real world interrupt the kid's plan to the supernatural before, especially being a bully or something like that. So you have to deal with your bully, plus you have to deal with this monster, plus you have to deal with like what the parents are doing to mess up this plan. like it was all it was great, and I love also the fact that we brought some characters that hadn't really got a lot of limelight in the first few seasons into this plan, right? So right. You're dealing with Lucas, you're dealing with the sister, like everybody I felt was useful. Everybody was useful in this series at this point. So yeah, that was my thoughts. I love the plan.
Yeah. What about you, Nat? What do you think about the plan as a whole?
I think because they've dealt with Elle and the weaknesses, of course, it would be a solid plan if it worked for her. But we are dealing with a powerful psychic being. Even with them trying to distract him, he can probably read multiple. We've seen him do the cerebral thing and read multiple minds at once. So it was like the thought didn't even occur to them that he would be doing that. There's a reason why he waited as long as he did to start attacking Max when she set herself up as bait. It was obvious that she was setting herself up as bait. So I want to like the plan, but realistically, it wasn't a good one.
Okay, but they only know what they know, right? They don't know what we know.
True.
They don't see all the stuff. And even though you said he's more powerful, we don't know, but it's the best plan. There was either this plan or do nothing. Like, when I sit down to think, I'm like, there's not another plan. For far as you know, Elle is thousands of miles away. You can't get in contact with her. The parents are all gone. Like, as far as the only thing I thought was, like, I didn't think he could control things in the house. Like, the bat things weren't the only obstacle. That was the only part that didn't really work for me. But besides that, like, I love, and it's also, these are kids just coming up with a strategy of best shot. Like, this is the best shot taking down the Death Star. We're going through this, and we're going to see what happens. And you know what? I'm biased because I've been wanting that metal scene on top of the trailer with the lightning and the bat. I was like, oh man, this is I had to make sure I wasn't as high imagining this. Like, it was awesome.
Well, and the thing is too, Vecna made it easy for some of their plans, because I mean, every time we've been in the Upside Down so far, we've been worried about Demogorgons. they ain't have to worry about them at all. I'm like, if Nancy and all them kids had gone through that upside down, and those Demogorgons had been there, it would have been a very short episode. It would have been maybe an hour, maybe.
And I thought that the Upside Down was populated with Demogorgons, and I thought that was the real danger. Those bat things are only dangerous in a pack, right? One Demogorgon will mess up your whole day.
Right.
So, and also they also see the kids that Vecna has focused on one event at a time, right? He's not killing multiple people at a time. So he's not omnipresent. And is that the word? I think omnipresent. Like he doesn't know everything that's going on.
He's not. Yeah.
So to get his attention in certain key areas and somebody come to sneak him, I mean, I don't know. I get what you're saying. There was probably a better plan with more intel and more time, but sometimes you just the Goonies.
It was
the time constraints for sure. Like of the plans, it wasn't a humongous bad one. Like I've heard worse plans, but Vecna is just a powerful person. But at the same time, like you said, he did get distracted. When he's focused on Max, he's not focused on anything else. Although he senses, because he has all those traps, it would be easier for him to notice if someone's trying to sneak attack him. So I get it.
And has the hive mind always been a thing with the Upside Down? Or I was trying to remember if that was always everything was connected.
Based on what we know, that it was a hive mind. We thought the mind flayer was the one that was controlling everything, and Vecna would just happen to be part of it. But we found out in episode 9 that is not the case. We thought Vecna was the general. Oh no.
and yeah, I'm not sure how that sits with me, because I like that there was an eldritch horror out there somewhere, and I thought Vecna was just a pawn, but it's just another human at the end of the day. Human went somewhere, mess some stuff up, use the resources to mess more stuff up. So I don't know. I don't know if I like it or don't like it.
Yeah, my only input about the plan, that was the reason why I asked. I feel as though, I can't remember if you said it, and none of them knew that everything was going down the way that it was going down. None of them knew that Joyce and them were in Russia. Elle had no idea that Hot was even still alive. You know, they didn't know that Elle could be reached because they've been trying to call Elle the whole entire time. So honestly, they all felt as though their actions were the only thing that they could do. The only person that really knew what was really going around, and she didn't even know that the Mind Flayer was in Russia, was Elle. Elle didn't know what was going on in Russia, because honestly, if they all hadn't been putting faith that their actions could make a difference, none of this would have worked. Because I think that's what it falls down to. Like, each of them felt like, if we do this, even if we're sacrificing ourselves now, at least we're giving everybody else a chance or a shot. It was kind of like, I look at the people that were in Hawkins, they're like, you know, the enforcers, they're at ground zero, like they're the front line. It's just, as a plan, I was like, y'all know that this is gonna go sideways very quickly. Outside of just y'all small plan, all these other things are in your way. You don't even know about it, because the whole Vines thing in the house, I was like, bro, ain't no way I would have Robin going to that house. No way. Nah, that was dumb to me. But from a plan standpoint, again, like you said, we're the audience looking in. But yeah, well, I'm about to go. I'll probably continue this later, but y'all let me know how y'all talk about episode 8. Nat, you have the floor, so I'm gonna let you add it. She's got a lot of images that you guys are gonna like for episode 9, but please make sure you talk about episode 8.
But everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, as they say, right? Every plan, every strategy is there until you hit the ground, the battle starts, and then all plans are out the window a lot of times. So I feel like I like what he said just now, is that this was just, they're all heroes. This is a team of heroes that all knew they had to do something. And they all did something, acted as fast as they could, as decisive as they could. And without knowing it, they were working as a team to get stuff done. This went from a group of scared kids that just were about their fantasy. They had one superpower character with them, to a team. This is a team. Like, if you fast forward 20 years and there was an agency just dealing with like supernatural stuff, like supernatural Pinkertons or something, I'd be like, yeah, that's how they started.
Yeah, see, I don't think anybody gonna want to play D&D after this. They're like, this is real life. I don't want to I don't want to talk about none of this. Vecna, Mind Flayer, Demogorgon. Like, it's just going to get them PTSD when they hear them terms now. They ain't going to go back and play it no
No,
more.
some of these kids are gonna grow up to have a cabin in the woods with traps and and
Right.
guns and like
Right.
no trespassing signs and stuff like that.
Well,
Yeah, there's a lot. Poor Lucas, man.
but yeah. But all right. So that was and that was 9. But I think all right. So if we jump, we it was so much to take in. If we go back to 8, which was like hour and a half, right? It was all about you got a lot about 11 and Papa's relationship, right? Like it was really interesting because I've always thought of Brenner as just this sinister, super evil man, but by the end of this episode, I felt like in his own sick, twisted way, he does actually care about 11.
Yeah. Oh, I know we transitioned it, but yeah, I felt like that too. I'd also like that we get often have a hard time. Sometimes media wants to simplify relationships with abusers and abusees, and sometimes they're just not that simple, cut and dry. And I like that she can still acknowledge this is a important person in her life. The only caregiver she really knew, there wasn't a great caregiver, was an abusive caregiver, and he was twisted and wrong when he was saying like when he was dying, and he fought so hard to save her, but he was dying, and he was like, "Tell me you understand. Tell me you understand." And
She
she's
didn't.
like, "I can't tell you understand that."
She just
but
said, "I'll say bye." How about that?
Bye, bye, Papa.
That was it.
Bye.
I'll say bye.
You poor broken man. Bye.
Yeah.
like
this is I'm going solo now. Yeah.
no.
It was pretty interesting how that went down. I also like the dynamic between Brenner and the other doctor. It's definitely like a good cop, bad cop kind of scenario between Brenner and Owens. I really hope they bring Owens back because when by the end of it, he's just kind of handcuffed in there, right? Like they don't
Yeah, he was trying to make a deal.
kill him, right? They don't kill him, but you are concerned with like what's gonna happen to him because the government they ain't trying to hear nothing. They like, nah, it's her, it's all her, gotta be her.
Like, dude, she is here. Like, she's literally here, and people are still dying.
Sorry, and what's funny is I need to go back and watch season 1 and season 2 because I'm just not understanding where the beef is coming from other than her killing agents defending herself. I'm just not understanding why they automatically think that she is responsible for people for killing innocents in a sense. Yes, she opened the portal, but that was an accident. And
Right.
then it's like she's developing her powers. Yes, it's not like Vecna or One where he's just crazy. This is obviously a little kid who tries to keep to herself. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've seen all kinds of surveillance, right? So I'm just not understanding why they would automatically think that she purposely is causing so much destruction. And when she's trying to help, like I just don't understand that mentality and the fact that they're not even willing to listen because that's why we have the different factions. Dr. Owens believes that she's trying to do good and that they need her to fix things because they F stuff up just as much as they did. So I just don't understand.
Well,
I
yeah,
think, go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, okay.
Well,
you go after you.
Okay.
After you.
But no, well, it's one of those things too. I wonder if it's kind of like the Smallville effect. Like, remember in Smallville, like every time something bad would happen in Smallville, Clark would always just be at the scene of the crime. It might be one of those things. Like, listen, even if it's not her, why is she always here? Like, Mind Flayer's here. It's this giant bloody spider monster sitting here melting in the middle of the mall, and she here. We got Russians underground, and she here. We got melting bodies, and she just happens to be here. We got this Demogorgon in here eating people. She just happens to be here, and so the government's like, look, I might not know what's going on, but I know she got something to do with with it.
And And it's the thing in real life. Even governments organizations, the larger they get, the more powerful they get, the less information is really get disseminated up to top and back down again, right? So if you're up top, you're reading a report and it's like, I don't know, fix this issue, and it goes to Keaton or goes to you, Nat, and you're like, I don't know, this little girl, she summoned demons. What? All right, Keaton, fix this issue. He's like, all right, this little girl, I guess you got to die. She killed some agents and some kids in a laboratory once.
I'm just following orders.
Just follow, and so he's not gonna come back and be like, hey, I had this little girl, and I know you said take care of it, but now I'm kind of unsure if she's the bad guy or not. What do you like? You ain't got time for that, Nat. You got all these other things to do. The soldiers below you ain't got time to question. That's what they're taught to do, right? They're not taught to question a bunch of orders. They're taught like, I don't see the whole picture. You told me to pull this trigger. I'm pulling this trigger, right? So you have this person. So he's the antagonist, but he's not the bad guy. He's not technically. He's not even wrong. He knows a bunch of like messed up scientific projects are going on here. You got the supernatural kids, you got demons, you got all this other stuff, and she's always at the center of it. And as far as he knows, there's only one person that can crack your body with their mind that they know of. So to us, we know the whole story, and he's the bad guy. To him, anybody trying to stop him from neutralizing this threat to the country, and you got this creepy ass doctor. Would you trust anything this guy had a hand in making? He's a mad scientist.
Right.
Frankenstein's monster can be the sweetest thing in the world, but if you know Frankenstein, like you know what I mean, like you don't really trust.
I'm not trusting a doctor that wear a vest to work. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. So
he came to look good.
Yeah. So look at him. He just screams evil. I don't know.
Yeah, that always looks suspect. Like, dude, you're doing a little too much, sir.
Right. He does.
And you have
especially. And we can't forget how they opened the episode too, because the episode opens with Vecna giving Nancy the premonition, and of course Nancy goes into the room and Vecna takes the form of Brenner. And so right then I'm like, oh, I didn't like you before, but I really don't like this. Right, because you see him basically tattooing one. And so, like, you right off the bat, you get that impression, like,
it wasn't that bad.
Dude's been sus, right?
Wasn't that bad. Whatever, tattooing that baby. And then you have the other scientists that, if you're in charge, this guy is clearly emotionally compromised. I can't trust what this other guy says. You know what I mean? Like, you can't trust that she's not dangerous. He's talking about medical comas and everything else. And again, he's only thinking from his perspective of threat. And Elle just brought down a helicopter. So her threat level might have just... So one of the run-throughs I had to watch this, in my mind, I thought she blocked bullets like the Matrix. At one point, I was like, I don't think that's what happened. Let me rewatch the scene. I was like, oh, that wasn't in this at all.
Well, she was holding the helicopter, but I guess trying to maneuver so the bullets weren't hitting her. So he was missing his shot pretty much, even though it was a great shot. So I thought she destroyed the facility by bringing the helicopter down as far as she did. But I guess because it's a bunker, it wouldn't have mattered, even though that door was very easy to, bomb out. But that's just me.
And one thing about Brenner, too, and I've been rewatching Stranger Things, and one thing I completely forgot they did in season 2 when Elle goes and meets 8 the first time. They go and they're basically like torturing and interrogating this guy about Brenner. And he says, oh, you thought Brenner was dead? I promise you, he's alive. And I completely forgot that they did that and said that in season 2. And so when he showed up in season 4, my jaw was on the floor because I'd forgotten in season 2, they gave us that Easter egg and hint like, oh, by the way, Brenner's still alive.
Do we think he's dead now?
I think he's dead now.
Oh
yeah, they did him like Ricky and Boys in the Hood. Like, 2 in the back.
I didn't see him take his last breath, so I don't know.
So
I thought we saw it. I thought we
No. Okay, so I just don't know. They could have brought him back into the bunker and tried to save his life, but they did kill all the scientists too. But there probably could still be medical personnel or within their death squad that could revive him, so to speak. And Dr. Owen, like you said, is still there. So he could have done some life-saving measures, at least to keep him alive long enough. I mean, we just don't know. I didn't see him take his last breath. So I'm not ruling anything out.
I think seeing Elle take her destiny and run off from him though was very poetic. Like I don't need Elle to reach. I don't need Elle to talk to him again. I don't need Elle to see him again. If we see if there's like a end like the end of the Wire season, a cutscene of what everybody's doing, and he's in the laboratory talking to some new kids or something like that, would not surprise me. But I think Elle needs to be done with him. I think her leaving him by her own choice and with her own actions and in a calm way, like she did, like goodbye, Papa. Like whether it's death or whether I'm just done with you, we will no longer have this love interaction again.
She's like Tina, and what's love got to do with it? Like we done.
Yeah,
I'm doing my own thing now. I'm doing my own
right.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, that part did feel final. So maybe in a sense, him dying, or not necessarily us seeing him dying, but her leaving is representative of this is the last that we're seeing of Papa. Bye.
And I think Papa's done. I don't think Owens is done because I think we're gonna need him next season to help Elle go Super Saiyan if they got any chance in winning this.
I think he's going to be a captive advisor. I think he's going to be a captive contractor by that other general guy. Like I don't think they'll let him go free. Also, I think Papa's death. I'm calling him Papa now. I think Papa's death was a poetic kind of justice, like for all this stuff.
Oh
he
yeah,
did.
absolutely.
Like he sees his work blown up. He sees his one of his creations. I thought they were going to say that was his biological son. That's what I thought they were going to say, that one was his actual biological son, and that's how this all got started. But they didn't. But you have one that's endangering the world. The other one that you also loved, but you didn't do it in a healthy way, leaves you, and no one's going to understand. Your perspective of why you thought you had to do this is not appreciated by anybody that you dealt with, and your work is pretty much destroyed. So I don't know. He got his comeuppance. Are we all still here? Oh.
Yeah, I had to hop off for a second. Yeah, for the listeners out there, I got a 2-year-old and he be doing stuff.
Didn't Stranger Things tell you those kids will be fine by their own? Nothing's gonna happen.
See? No. If anything, I learned I am not the Wheelers. We're not doing that. Kids disappear. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. You've been all season.
Teenagers may be monitors because we saw Stranger Things. No, you teenagers can't be by yourselves. Like, I was trying to explain to my daughter, like, the 80s was like a wild, wild west. I walked plenty of places by myself with no supervision.
Straight Tombstone. Straight up. I'm a Huckleberry, like all day.
Like just roaming the street. You had a bike, that was your ride. You get anywhere you needed to go. Like it was, no one cared.
But I will have to pop off for like a minute, but then I'll be right back. But
okay, people keep on chopping off and leaving with this discussion.
Just one. It's
okay.
We doing our best, okay?
We're doing our best, y'all.
We're doing our best. But I will return in like a minute. Best, I believe.
See, people, I'm a daddy, but I said F them kids because I. Here, go play in that parking lot with the broken glass. You'll be fine. It feels okay. Look, you got one rule: come home with them street lights. Come on, that's it. Everything else is free range.
Okay, but I was low key irritated with Papa because I did understand why he said to wait. Like I get it, but Elle was adamant, and I would think that you would take that into consideration. That timing is not your friend right now. So, I mean, he could have gone with her to come up with the plan on their way there. Like, it just didn't, it was frustrating me as I was watching it. I'm like, no, dude,
and
time is of the essence. We don't have time for this. We don't have time. And then the government was able to come in.
This was the Empire Strikes Back moment where Yoda says, Luke, you're not ready to face your dad. And he's like, but I can't leave my friends. Right? And I love that they put that in there. And in a way, he's right. He was right. She was not ready for that smoke. But what he couldn't understand, because of how he views relationships versus how she views relationships, is it wasn't just her. It was her and her friends. It was her and her family. And while he can't put that trust in people, what saved the day was they all put their trust in each other, right? And I know that sounds corny and coming out like that. It was a power of friendship, if you will. But he couldn't see that, right? So he can't see that. What do you mean? There's a bunch of teenagers and kids and broken down sheriffs and house moms. Like one killed this whole facility at one point. Like, And she, you're not ready. You're not ready. And she's like, nah, I got my friends. We no matter what. And sometimes, hey, I know this ain't real life. Sometimes it don't work out, but sometimes it is Tombstone. Sometimes you just you back up your friends, and that's all you got to do. And that was what happened.
I completely get that and agree with you. It just sucks that he just didn't really see that far ahead. And again, the timing was just, there wasn't enough time. Vecna was going to make his move, and then the earthquake still would have happened because Nancy. He told Nancy that this was going to happen. Like, it was, whether it was with Max or with a stranger, it would have happened. So then what?
Well, on paper, he was right? Like, on paper, she was not ready. She should have trained some more so she can face him with full power. He's growing in power, though, but she still wasn't able to hang with him one-on-one. But what the only difference would have been is, I think that more of her friends would have been killed or injured, right? Like, we know Nancy, Steve, who else was with them? It was Nancy,
Steve and Robin.
And Robin, they probably would have died, right? Munson, I guess, was dead no matter what. Yeah. So, I mean, but he was still right. Elle put herself in danger, and Elle was the only weapon he had against us. And Elle still would have opened up. And so it's the macro versus the micro, I guess, maybe. I'm just saying he wasn't wrong. He wasn't completely wrong,
but it was just frustrating considering we, as the audience, I'm knowing that the government is also after them. I'm like, did y'all really think that that y'all were going to be able to hold in that bunker for as long as y'all did, knowing how tenacious this dude is that is after Elle? I think it was everything culminating in episode 8 as far as like the government being after Elle, and then the plan, and then just Nancy seeing what she was seeing, and then that time was of the essence. It was just, the culmination just wasn't in their favor at all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You
didn't miss much. We talked about the power of friendship saving the lives.
It do be like that.
Right? Sometimes you got back your boys.
Yeah, no, I was more specific about Papa wanting to wait, and just the fact that they couldn't really wait. They had to come up with something, but unfortunately Elle wasn't powerful, so in a sense he was right. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, kind of like round out our opinions.
So yeah, they definitely ended up in the long run taking an L because Papa was saying she wasn't ready. It gave me Star Wars vibes when Yoda was like, when it did that get said already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda's like, you're not ready to face Vader. You can't do it yet. And Luke was like, I'm gonna go save my friends. And so what I said was that technically he was right, but what he couldn't understand was, it wasn't just her, it was her and her friends and her family, right? So it wasn't just her faces back then, it was all of them. And from his, on paper, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, what do you mean? You're not ready? These bunch of kids is going to help you? These teenagers and house moms are going to help you? No. We need to wait and get you stronger. Yeah. But the power of friendship is what got them through this, pretty much.
And at the same time, too, one of the things I was wondering is, what is it that Brenner was after? Because it sounded like Brenner was infatuated with one. And so I didn't know if Brenner even wanted Elle to defeat him, or if he just wanted to keep studying one and keep being like, oh, fascinating.
Hey, real quick, because my 2-year-old, well, not my 2-year-old, my 1-year-old is gonna freak out. I think it's the father syndrome. This is where I put it. I think that he didn't want Elle to go out there and get herself killed, but he also knew that one was still alive, and he didn't want to get one killed either, because they are byproducts. They're like his children. He didn't want either one of his children to die. But I also think, I was listening to you guys the whole entire time. You guys are great.
I know.
I also think that he could care less if Hawkins descended into hell. I don't think he cared. So I think that from his perspective, his timetable's like, oh shoot, man, we got a good month. You'll be strong enough in a month. They'll be gone. Your friends will be gone, but you know what? You'll be stronger. But
you still got me.
Also, right. for him, it's like, well, I'll still get what I need from you, which is more, and then I can also make sure your brother is okay too. So I think realistically, he looked at it as a father, a sick, sadistic one, but he didn't want either one of them to die. But he also wanted to keep Elle under control because he could care less if Hawkins descended into hell. He could care less. He didn't
So
care. So that's why he was like, yeah, no, you're fine. F that town. It's okay.
I mean, technically, he's responsible for Hellmouth being underneath Hawkins. So, I mean,
Right. That's what I'm saying. No, he could care less about Hawkins. He could care
so
less.
I just wonder. So since 11 is technically the last, 8 is off somewhere.
Is she the last? Is she the last?
As far as the people that were originally in the Hawkins lab.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 11, and 8, as far as I know.
As far as we know, I'm not aware of another facility of, powered individuals. So I'm just wondering, would he have wanted to start again, similar to how 1 was in the situation that 11 is now? So could he have used 11 to try and create more children? I'm just wondering at this point if that was also an underlying reason why he wanted her to stay, as well as get the training, as well as get stronger.
Yeah, I
just wonder if it's a combination of things.
Yeah,
as well
I definitely think he's just infatuated with the science. I really think that that's the big thing, because he wasn't even listening to what Owens was saying. Like, look, this
not
is
at all
going on. This is what we need to do. We have to help. Like, Owens is actually thinking about the people. And Brenner is just like, but the science, though.
Well, but I'm gonna say, even by the book, though, if we only had one super weapon against this whole hellscape, I'm probably not going to risk it either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably not going to want to send Elle to if I don't think Elle. But would you? Like, you don't know the people in Hawkins. But you're thinking about globally, right? I think most of us would sacrifice a town if we think we'd be better in a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't have a connection to people. Like, I don't know the people.
Yeah.
I never got no KFC with them. we never bonded.
The thing I will say about this season finale, and I'm not saying it's not like this in real life, they had a ton of luck. They had a ton of luck, because if that soldier had aimed at 11 first and not Papa, this would have been a wrap, right?
Her head was sticking out.
If the pothead had not been with them to notice the tire tracks when everybody non-high missed it, this wouldn't have worked out. Like, everything happened perfectly for this to keep going, because first off, they would have just shot 11 had they hadn't been distracted by the van driving up in the first place.
So I think if they had identified the actual target that they were trying to get, they had to do a kill confirm either way. I don't think that they would have just shot her on sight. I think that they would have had to confirm it with their superior first and then kill her. So I think that they were eradicating anybody that was coming out, including all those scientists.
Yeah.
And so he was the logical kill.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like that's the whole thing about the show in and of itself. Since season 1, it's always been like that. The Duffer Brothers have found a way of making sure that every story thread works together. If you see me moving around, it's my kid. Say hey, Peanut. Say hey.
What's up, Sammy?
Say hey.
What's up?
Say hey.
I think there's something there. Another reference I got, I felt like this was a real, like, remember Rambo First Blood with the helicopter scene? The guy can't quite get the shot. I got a sense of that in there too.
Oh yeah,
definitely. So I love, and also even how they seem like some national. This is no offense to National Guard, but from the Rambo first movie, the National Guard like hit people. They're like, oh, I'm just going to shoot some stuff. So not no conscious about this little kid you're about to shoot or this older guy you're shooting. They're like, yeah.
Orders are orders. Orders are orders. Right.
Okay. Bring out the bazooka.
Right. Right. And so, but it's just, it was just the way that they I'm just kind of blown away because all season long, it hasn't been one of these things where, and then the gang splits up and we get 2 different perspectives. All season long, we've had 4 completely different stories going, and then they're syncing them all up for this last 4 hours, and it's the timing of everything is really mind blowing. They did a phenomenal job just storytelling, because they just kept building every bit of anxiety. I don't got any endorphins left in my system.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about 9. I don't know if you guys felt really anxious and like your blood was rushing, but I looked at I didn't tell y'all this. I looked at episode 8 that night, and then I was like, I'm going to sleep because I had to take care of this little one. But during my lunchtime the next day, I looked at episode 9 with Eris, and like me and him both were like, "Yo, I'm freaking out right now."
Yeah, it felt
Like,
like what? Yeah,
like I can't take no more. Like I don't know where this is going, but I need to come down from this high because it's going way too far at this point.
it felt like the long night episode in Game of Thrones when I'm just like, who they gonna kill? Who they gonna kill? Who about to die? Somebody about to die. Like I was just on edge because you had heard so many rumors and you had so many theories and you were worried for Steve, and like you just the anxiety was building, and they built it even more in 8. I wasn't as worried about people in 8 as I was in 9. 8 just gave you things to worry about. Like, because you saw them, they stole an RV, they went to a gun store that sold illegal weapons, and I'm like, man, this about to be bad. We got the Jason, he got evil eyes now because he done gone crazy because of Chrissy and all that. And so they just kept building things that would make you worried. You had Steve giving his heart to heart about all he's ever wanted is a big happy family. And I'm like, man, you saying the wrong words right now.
Right. Right.
And not only that, then they doubled up on the word, because he's like, all I've ever wanted is a happy family. And Lucas is back there listening, and he's like, let me go have a heart to heart with Max. And I'm like,
I got
like,
so
it's
scared
too
for
many heart to
Lucas.
heart. Right.
Yeah,
You
I was
got
like, way too many people are having heart to hearts here.
Right.
Like, this is not going to go well.
you
Oh,
had
no.
yeah, you had Will talking to Mike about how much 11 loved him and how much 11 needed him and all that. I'm like, man, first
And
off,
even
can we
Will and
please just give
Jonathan.
Will can Will get a hug, like a long good hug? Like, this man is,
He
even
did
when
get
he
something
has
from Jonathan.
right, even when he has peace, the mind flare, he's like look, let me put some chill bumps on the back of their neck so you can't sleep on me. Like, can my man have any peace? Any?
Like,
He got
who's
that bad
Nancy?
haircut. Like, he just can't.
They did that character wrong, man. Like
Will just cannot catch a dub. His brother that normally loves him he's just been doing nothing but smoking weed. Just like, yo, I'm stressed. This California bud, man. Can I just eat some pizza with some pineapple? Like, can we just like? And so, man, Will, that scene was heavily emotional, because as it began, it was like, oh, Will giving this boy a pep talk, and then you started realizing, oh, this ain't about 11. Like, this is about Will, like, really having something for Mike here. And of course, Mike being Mike this season, he seemed like he was just completely oblivious. He was like, yeah, Elle cares about me. And I'm like,
I did love the L artwork though. They showed like you're the heart, Mike. You're the heart. I like that, but I also like that Mike wasn't the answer all this season. You know, we got some other characters that got some. Will and his brother. Oh, this had me worried for what's his brother's name? What's Will's brother's name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
You know, this seemed to be worried for Jonathan. I was like, oh, Jonathan's gonna eat it. They want Steve to be with Nancy. They need to be a clean break, so Jonathan's gonna die somehow. So I was worried about Jonathan. I was worried about Lucas because they had that talk, and you know, I want Steve to die. So yeah.
And see, so one thing I'll say is, once I realized they weren't gonna make it back to Hawkins, that was when I was just like, okay, I'm not as worried about that group yet.
See, I thought because she could piggyback onto Max, I was like, oh, he can piggyback on the Max too. And I thought that they were gonna we save it. He just shows up and grabs one of them or brings them into it. And I was like, it works both. They're making a whole thing about how their powers work the same way. And so I was like, let's stop people piggybacking off of her too. I mean, piggybacking off of L to get to them or something. So
that was a concern, but I do think because he's wanted this confrontation with L for so long that between her and the objective of killing Max to open up Hawkins with the earthquake, he didn't have time to worry about, because she was already worried about Max. So I think him focusing on Max worked for the context of what, of him confronting her.
Yeah, I think I overthought it. I was just thinking that he wanted her to suffer, and maybe he was gonna just go at somebody.
Yeah. But I think if he had more time, he probably would have, or if he felt more confident, he would have. But I think because, again, his focus was on opening up Hawkins, so, the Upside Down would be kind of like taking control of the Earth. That was his main focus. That was his number one objective. So L was like a bonus.
And he's a narcissistic villain, too, because we knew that they even knew, Vecna's not going to go after some no-name for the fourth gate. He's going to finish what he started with Max. They knew it, and he knew it. He's like, yeah, I could go after this kid in this Chuck E. Cheese right now, but no, forget all that. Them batteries on her Walkman going to die, and when they do, I'm going to be on her like white on rice. Vecna was waiting, and it was...
Well, I just think he probably didn't even start with anyone else after the guy, because he was like, yeah, Max, I'm going to come back to Max. That's why when she ran away, she was like, oh, I'm going to come back to you. Don't worry.
Yeah. He won't even concern. He was just like, all right, next episode, I got you.
Screw that Energizer Bunny. Those batteries are going to die, like you said.
Yeah. One thing though about 8 is that by the end of the episode, as soon as the Journey song started, I felt like anybody on this show at any given time could have died. And I don't think that we've had a season like that yet. To the point that anywhere, I felt like anybody could have catch it, because I felt the same way about. Hold on, my son's talking. I felt the same way like Ant did, in the sense that he could easily piggyback. And once he located where L was, he could get and connect to anybody around her. So I was kind of like, everybody is in jeopardy right now. Even though, they're, in Nevada in a pizza gallery, I was like, that doesn't keep them exempt from anything happening. So it was like, in episode 9, I really didn't know who was going to catch that body. So, I love that about 8 and going into 9, is that I had no idea.
The music was definitely piggybacking off of the trailer, and I love that they used the music for both trailers, for episode 8 and then episode 9. I loved that. Loved it. And like you said, it built tension for episode 8 going into episode 9. And it also built up the tension just in general. I love that part. I definitely enjoyed
it was just like the growing snowball. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was like, man, this going to hit something. This going to hit something. Because the thing is, too, they keep, like we talked about, they keep coming up with these plans that aren't the best. Because I'm like, Nancy, you've been seeing that guns don't do anything to anybody in the Upside Down since season 1. You took that 38 special to that Demogorgon. And it didn't do jack. Why are we still trying to use bullets? They should have brought 9 Molotov cocktails. I'm in episode 9. I'm sorry. We going back there. But this is just when they're in the gun store. I'm like, man.
Can you
flamethrower?
And that's what I like when Nancy, when Joyce was like, hey, they was like, didn't they say something about a flamethrower? Yeah, we know fireworks. These guns annoy them or maybe hold them back for a little bit, but we saw, even with the guards, they were lighting this thing up. And it just seems like it didn't like the pain, but as soon as they had to reload, it's like, oh, it's on type of thing. But that fire, that heat on his heat on his butt, that heat on his butt is what it don't like. I'm gonna shut up for a minute.
And that's the thing. I'm like, man, y'all would have probably had better luck. Just blow Vecna up in the whole house. Like they should have just brought some propane tanks, right? That's what they should have done. But they were in there, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this shotgun. I'm gonna have a talk with Jason. He gonna mansplain how guns work to me, work real fast." And
This is the
Okay.
80s. Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Aunt. I'll go
I was
back.
gonna say this is the 80s. I am pretty sure there's some illegal fireworks that we could have nowadays. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of stuff you could have got. And there's a bunch of stuff y'all could have got to blow up that house. I ain't gotta see Vecna. I just gotta blow up that house and walk away.
No. Because Vecna been escaping ish for a minute. I need to see a body dead. But I also think with the whole store scene, they didn't have time to get more gasoline, more, ingredients for the Molotov cocktails because Jason and his homeboys were scoping and buying their own weapons. So they didn't want to run into them and have a confrontation with them there, the worst place to have a confrontation.
I love how they always have an 80s bully in every season messing up stuff. Like there is some version of an 80s bully in every season going up these works.
I feel like they did a little bit too much on the bullies this season. There were way too many bullies. Just focus on one or two. I get the flashback bullying, but did we really need Angela? We could have just focused on Jason.
Well, it did go out
especially
of the
because
way.
they didn't bring her back. I wanted Elle. I needed a scene of Elle going back to California.
Exactly.
And being like, "Oh, you thought the skates were all I was gonna do?"
Exactly.
I got my dad here with me now. You got something to say to him? Like what? Like
not only that, with her powers, I wanted her to be like tripping her up, doing little things with her powers.
Go full reverse flash on her.
Crazy. Oh, you thought I didn't have powers? Oh, I got them back now, bitch.
Right. Like I did want that. But yeah, they did have a lot of bullies, but the thing that was weird, I did think was funny was after I guess after was it episode 7 when Jason got up there, talked in front of the people and got them all riled up, we saw no more police presence in Hawkins. Like, and it was funny because I was laughing because I was like, man, once that black police chief saw that Vecna was going after black folks too in the water, he was like,
No.
I'm out. Y'all want to run around with guns and stuff? I'm not gonna be the one to stop y'all. Not me. Like as soon as he saw, it was like, oh man, all these folks just leaving here mad and running to the gunshots. Like, what I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do? It's the 80s. He knows.
Yeah. My other theory that I thought that the bully was gonna get the blame for the murders at some point. I thought he was gonna get the blame because he started going too hardcore trying to kill the other kids, and that didn't happen. Nothing with him happened the way I thought.
Well, see, and that was one of the things I was worried about with Eddie the whole time. I was like, no matter how this goes, even if they win, there's no way to clear his name. And so I was already worried about him going into the season finale, especially because like I said, he had his moments with Dustin where they're like Dustin's making the puns with him, and I was worried about him. I've been worried about him the whole season because we know how Stranger Things do new great characters, right? It's like, oh, you love him? Good. I don't
think they knew how much we were going to love him. Like I think it's almost like the same thing that I think Sam told us about Chrissy. They didn't know that she was going to have so much chemistry with him, and they wouldn't have killed her off so fast. I don't think people know how much. Like to me, he could have been another member of the crew for another season, and I'd have been happy with it. But it's still. I know we're in 9 again. I can't stop. I'm sorry.
Right. And the thing is, but it's and so it was one of those things. 8 was a crazy build up because they gave us the plan. They were like, this is what everybody's going to be doing. This is what everyone's going to try and do. And the funny thing too is like in Russia, it's like, oh good, they escaped. And then they're like, we're going back. I'm like, oh,
love that. So 80s.
And I really thought one of them was going to bite it because I'm like, wait, you made a decision to turn around. You just escaped a maximum security prison in Russia, and you going back?
I thought conspiracy guy was goners at that point. I thought hey,
Murray, man,
yeah, I was like, he's a comic relief.
I was worried about my man Murray. I was worried about Murray. I was, but and so going back into, I was surprised that people didn't get killed off in 8 and 9, because I thought in 8 they were just gonna give a preview like, oh, you thought it was, guess what, we got smoked. And sure enough though, 8, the only big death we had was Brenner.
Papa.
Yeah, Papa. And so they did a great job setting it up. And man, I got to give it to the music here too, because every song that they picked, even whether it's the score or a remix of a popular 80s song, everything fit perfectly for the scene, especially when they would play songs that we had heard in the show in prior seasons with scenes that related to the current events going on. And so I just thought it was very well done overall with 8, how they progressed all of the storylines, because they finally gave meaning to one of the storylines when L meets up with the gang again. Because before, whenever they had them on screen, I wasn't worried about nothing. I'm like, oh, this just they fine. They fine. Like it's not a big deal. As long as that guy with the long hair with them, it's just humor. It's all fun and game. it's comedic relief for all the stress they giving us.
I think so, and I think Stranger Things has done something with their writing. Whenever you see a show that you feel like went on an episode too long or didn't have enough episodes let characters breathe, like this wasn't a long season. This wasn't like 20 episodes or 12 episodes. Well, I guess maybe because they extended some of the times, but still, a lot of character development, a lot of solid writing, and they used all their time wisely. Even their quiet moments, they used wisely. And so when you hear people make excuses about other shows, be like, well, they didn't have enough time. They only had this many episodes. They only had this many. Like, no, there's too many characters. No. They let these moments breathe. They let these characters develop. They got that we've only known Eddie a couple hours, and we felt for we worried about what was going to happen to him since almost the first episode we saw him in. And I think that's a testament to the writers, the directors, the actors that are bringing these characters in this world to life, and the music. The music has been such a great medium of emotion for us. Even the lyrics, just to listen to the lyrics on screen as you see them captioned about being free or anything like that, or love, and like I don't know, or your master, like I don't know. There's so many different things that hit so hard because I could see the closed caption of the lyrics of the music.
I completely agree with the music. The music this season has been excellent. I've said that before. The emotional scenes, I did have an issue with the pacing just a little bit. I just feel like some scenes I feel like some scenes took a little too long, and then some scenes weren't rushed it wasn't as quick as I was expecting. And maybe it was because I was worried about the time. I was actually looking at my clock. I'm like, are we still running? Okay, how much longer are we okay?
Do you think
time and space meant nothing to me at these moments, so
it's a little bit understandable for you.
Matt, do you think that had to do with because Volume 2 was 2 episodes, but really it's not? Really, it's like a full episode and a movie. Because that's one of the things about Episode 9 is that I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this. Technically, Episode 9 could have been broken up into 3 episodes. In all reality,
what it was
long enough.
No,
it was. I think it was bad enough for Episode 8 being an hour and a half. And again, I think it was because what was happening in the episode that was frustrating me for a little bit. That I was like, this is not moving as quickly as I'm. What can we move along, please? Why are we still here? Can we move along? Can we just move to what? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think that's got to be like a perception thing because normally when you binge something, You go an hour or maybe 40 minutes, then you stop, then you go forward. Go an hour, stop, going forward. With this, it's like no trauma, trauma, trauma. Build up, build up, build up.
Right. And I
Just
think
shut you down.
that's how I think it was meant to be viewed, because the thing is, with the longer episodes, the whole time you're at the edge of your seat. Like at one point you get so worried about characters that you just start running the clock. You're like, yo, just let the time run out on the other side. Just like, I'm just sitting there looking. And man, I remember I think it was in 9. I remember at one point I'm sitting there worried, and I pause it, and I'm not even halfway through the episode, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh. I paused it.
No.
I was like, let me go pee. Oh,
Yo, so when me and Eris,
Bathroom breaks was just like,
I
when
was
can
so
I stop here
stressed.
so I can go do a quick bathroom break? Like,
That's
what-
how it was meant to be
Yeah.
watched. They were like, hey, we've built the anxiety, we've built the stress up, and now you're gonna have to just sit here and wait for it. You gotta
Yeah.
wait.
When's
for
the last
all
time
of
you
it.
had an experience like that, though? I don't think I've had an experience like this in a long time.
Like you said,
and-
Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones was the last time I was just worried. I'm like, who's gonna bite it? What's gonna
Yeah,
happen next?
the longest
Like
night
it was,
definitely.
yeah.
I have my issues with Game of Thrones at that point, so I'm not gonna go into that. But
Well,
No,
the whole
fair
season
enough.
was
Fair
an
enough.
issue in general. So let's
right. But I felt like I didn't feel like any deaths weren't earned. I didn't feel like any survival wasn't earned. I felt like everything just happened in an organic way. I know we had some movie magic of all these things lined up for this to happen. But we also have to admit a lot of things went wrong for a lot of things to happen too. Right? Like so I didn't really I want to say that I think there was a point when I paused for a second, and I was like, "Oh man, there's so much more left." And I was like, and I think it was in 9. I think it was there's a part in 9. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's not there's no last minute rescue for you. Like this is done." And but besides that, to me, and again, my perception was kind of skewed at this point. It just flowed. Everything just flowed. I didn't feel like anything was out of place. I didn't feel like I was wasting any time there. I didn't feel like there wasn't somebody that didn't get enough love. I love that Lucas got the love he got this season. I love the fact that they're incorporating more of his sister into the main body of the plot. I just there were so
Don't
many
even
things.
get me started on Erica. Oh,
Right.
God.
Even the
Critical
high,
hit.
yeah.
That's
Even
my
the high
girl.
guy that I thought was going to annoy me. Oh, this is the stoner burnout guy. Even him, I was like, you know what? Bring your pineapple pizza, but
Right.
over here to and join in the group. I was happy for anybody. Even at the end, Jonathan, who I thought got ignored a lot through the season, he even got some moments in because he actually doesn't look like he's had a lot of time. So
Yeah,
so between
I was
You
confused
know-
with him this season because you could really, it almost felt like they didn't know what to do with Jonathan this season, but that's because they were busy setting up a love
Yeah.
triangle for us to be frustrated with next season.
And the tagline that was going in the back of my head was, "We're getting the band back together." And I love when a story can take groups and separate them. Take these friends, separate them. They're all across the map. And the thing that you're waiting is the same thing you're waiting for them is, I can't wait till the band gets back together. And
Right.
and we're going into the last battle with all of
Yeah.
us. And it's
Yeah.
been happening in so many different shows and movies, but it always, if you do it right, it always gives you that satisfying feeling of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot with movies and TV shows. So yeah, I do agree. It was that good feeling. It also felt good that they weren't completely lost. Like they actually had a plan. Was it a good plan? It was probably about as good as they could put together in the amount of time they had and the amount of resources and all that. But they did have a plan. They're like, oh no, we're gonna go give Vecna the smoke. And I'm like, that's a bad idea, but I respect your bravery. I'm gonna be watching.
But everything they also used in their plan, like even the pizza saltwater bath thing, the pizza like freezer thing, all that made sense in the world they created for us leading up to this, and they paid all
Right.
that off. So
Right.
so sometimes shows bring something in that doesn't
was
make any
great
sense
writing.
or doesn't really. But no, it's like, how do we build this world? How does this work? What do we use? How do we? And you know what? For all we know, that's why they wrote the pizza character into this into this season just for that access to the salt. But you know what? It
Well,
worked.
The
It
guy,
worked.
he was definitely there because they were like, okay, we got to give Jonathan something to do. here's this guy. He can hang out with this guy, and it also gives a lot of perspective too with why Will is feeling just completely lost, because Jonathan's over here stressed about college and all this stuff, and of course Mike is only thinking about 11 like he's been doing the last 3 seasons, and so Will's just I think it's still stuff that they're setting up now for season 5, because I really think Will's gonna be an influential part of season 5. I think he's gonna be the breakout, because every time we've ever seen Will, he's been a victim. He's been a victim this whole show. Season 1 got kidnapped. Season 2 got
Possessed.
possessed. Season 3 he was kind of in the back. Season 4, in this, it's like he's getting to that point where he's just like, I hate all of this. And so I'm really interested in seeing what they do with him, especially now that they're going to be down a character as far as the main cast goes with Max.
Yeah, and I think Will's been that. He's part of the hangover posse that's been stuck in the roof of all the movies. So in story, he's part of the gang, but we didn't really. First season, we didn't know Will really. Second season, he was kind of compromised. Third season, they really didn't do much with him. So hey, I think they made his haircut look stupid on purpose, so that season 5 come around and he can start on us and be like, oh, is that Will?
He's gonna have a ponytail.
So I think, like I said, I they've used all the characters really well, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. But I think we about hit everything in episode 8. Did we miss anything? I'm sitting here trying to think.
I feel like we've already bled into episode 9.
We did.
So can we talk? I'm already. I mean, we have. We went and we got to their plan. We got how their plan went awry when the bullies showed up, right? And that beautiful nutcracker scene we got from Lucas's sister. Somebody sometimes when she gonna get married, she's like, she was a ball buster her whole life. Like,
oh yeah. Even then, yeah, she's like, look, yeah, you might know you still my brother. You make me sick, but you still my brother. Like it was just so wholesome, but it had you worried about everybody, because I'm like, man, y'all got to chill with these heart-to-hearts. I really was worried about Steve when he said, all I want is to be with someone happy and have 6 children. I'm like, that's too many kids. Nope. Go ahead. Nope. You got to kill them off, because that's too many children.
Look, that was like somebody in the church is like, hey man, it's our last mission, and we get to go home to my beautiful wife and my newborn baby. Oh
right.
Man. Like,
right. It's like the old cop in the movie. I'm a month away from retirement. Like, I was like, oh man, this is everything I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy a boat. I'm gonna go to the lake. Like, they telling all these stories. I'm like, oh man, that ain't gonna happen.
But I will tell you the thing that kept running through my head is that I think Nat, me, and Keaton both said, oh, Max is safe. She already had a near-death experience, so Max is safe. That kept running through my head, and I was like, I think we're wrong. Were we wrong? Were we?
Man, oh my
wrong?
God! Oh
Am
my
I
God!
about to right?
I legit said that as soon as she lived at the end of 4, I was like, oh, we good. Oh, we good. As soon as we see, man, really. Really?
You gonna get that work?
I was like, all right.
Get that work.
I was like, all right. He got one arm, but they gonna stop him before he can bust another arm. And man, like, oh, that's a leg too,
bro. It was so drawn out. It was so drawn out. And man, when she just, all right, fine. We doing 9. Are we just talking about it? I thought we were doing 8 and 9. All right, fine. All right, look. So, all right. So, man, first things first. That scene had me shook. Like, I was upset, but when when Lucas just screamed out, "Erica, help!" I was like, that's what got me right there, because that was a powerful, powerful scene. That was a powerful, and it like I said, they cut it, and of course they hit us with those back to back because we got hit with Eddie, and then in the same Moby song, we got hit with Max, like back to back, and it was just, I was just like, man, this is
Lucas with that Indiana Jones punch knocking out the bully, like when that bully stepped on that cassette player, I was like, ah.
Yeah, as soon as he stepped on, I was like, oh, you going to hell.
Right.
I was so mad, and he was just it was a necessary distraction, but he's not in his right mind.
Like, why were you going to shoot Lucas? Like, he was going to blast Lucas. Like, drugs don't work that way. Wake her up now. Drugs don't work that way, son.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how y'all feel.
Like that. That's not how that works, sir. No. Like let the professionals handle it, please.
I can see that we're gonna call 911, but he was like, "Wake her up now." If you didn't think it was supernatural stuff, you would think she had some drugs in her or something, right? Mm-hmm. What do you mean, wake her up now? That's not how any of this works. Like, what do you say? I don't know.
It sounds on the ignorance of what his brain was thinking of and how he was processing things.
Yeah, he wasn't in his right.
When Lucas ducked that shot, though. When Lucas ducked that shot and got to, I was like, yeah.
I was like, Lucas, represent us well, baby.
Like, honestly, I was shocked. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know Lucas could fight like that. I ain't seen him fight since he had them wrist rockets trying to kill the Demogorgon, right? Like, I was like, okay, Lucas got hands. Like, Erica been training him. Like,
right. You know my household? You know my household? This ain't.
Right. Like, I was thinking him and Angela were Erica were going to go in there and jump.
I wanted that so much.
I wanted Erica to get in there.
When Erica was trying to get into the door, I was like, please, baby girl, get in so y'all can both throw hands on him.
Lucas like, real quick. Lucas like, you're my bully? I live with my bully. You ain't nothing.
So, real quick, just because I don't know how long my son's going to let me talk, did you guys feel a way as Black people, okay, in the situation that was happening? I was like, this is too soon. I was like, first off, this man got a Rick Grimes gun on this man's forehead. And Erica is being pinned down with her arm behind her back, pinned down. I kind of felt away emotionally. I was like, it may be way too soon for me to see this. Y'all better be correct how y'all, fix this compromise situation, because
they did it right.
Like, they did it right. They did it real right, and I respect them for it. But I was kind of like, why does this have to happen right now? Like, emotionally, it was too much for me.
So my feelings went to when I saw her get pinned. Like, grapes came out in my mind, and I was like, oh, that's not what's happening right now. But I had like a essay kind of like reaction to it, and so I know what you're talking about. And the gun with Luke, and I think, but also with Lucas, I think as soon as he pulled the gun that close, and I think this the climate we live in, I don't like it, but I also felt like he was. I felt writing wise, I was like, there's no way they kill him like this now. Like, there's no way they kill him like that. And I felt like it's a shame we can't have a character. This sounds weird. This sounds messed up. It's a shame we can't just have a character in a situation without our trauma, and our trauma of living here informing us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this right.
I know exactly.
I know what you're saying.
I completely know what you're saying. It's kind of like that's in the back of your mind, even though in the context of what the show is doing, it wasn't really about color. It was about the situation. So it's like but it's in the back of my mind. It's like a split second, but it's there. But we understand that that's not what it is.
Right. I think we all just had a moment. It's okay. Right. Look, people, it's hard to deal with some of these emotions sometimes, and I think, and kudos to the writer. You gave us a great scene with Lucas, great scene with his sister, and everything like that. But our trauma informed how we watched this scene, and if y'all messed up, we was gonna hear about it. Sorry, it shouldn't have to be that way, but that's how it was gonna happen. Like,
yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but like, the whole time I was watching it, at a certain point in that episode, I was like, Lucas is gonna be fine. Max is gonna be the victim here. Like at a certain point, I realized I'm like, this ain't good. I think it was because of how drawn out it was. Because you had Vecna and Ale fighting the whole time, and you had Mike like slowly telling Ale, "You can do this. You got this, girl." And the whole time, I think by the time he's doing that, one of Max's arms are already broke, and I'm like, "Oh, the clock done ran out. That shot ain't gonna count." I was like, "Man, the whole time."
And it was bugging me. That's why I was like, "Can we pick it up just a little bit? This is taking too long. What are we doing?"
This is terrible. But in my mind, like I said, guys, I was medicated when I was watching this. All of a sudden, he started saying that. I started to hear, "You got the touch." Boom. I was like, wow, this is a good thing. And I rewatched
the power.
Right. And when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, did I just make that, huh? Like, okay, no.
Can we get Eddie back to play that guitar?
Right.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I think there's something to that though, because at that time there was so many people in peril. Because realistically, let's be real about this. Nancy, Robin, and Steve were strung up by their necks.
Dude, everybody was dying.
From a clock standpoint, they should have been dead. I felt like they were up there for a long time. And I was like, I mean, Hot won't any better state. Like, Hot was sitting there putting in work. This man had to pick up a daggone sword to try to defend this woman. And everybody...
Where the Hellboy sword come from? Where the Hellboy sword come from?
That was episode 5.
It was when they all grabbed the weapons to fight that Demogorgon,
right.
And he wiped them out. They were still out there. Yeah.
Again, I thought I made that in my mind because I was like, did Hellboy get a sword? Wait, what am I looking at?
Where did that sword come from? Like, hold on a second.
But again, like the deaths of Max and Eddie happened at the literal same exact time, and we had to watch it. So it's kind of like we're having to deal with not just one death, but 2 and possibly more. We had no idea whether or not somebody like Steve or Nancy was going to suffocate. And so, like, that's where I don't have any issue with the pacing because I've never have to deal with something like that. Even with The Walking Dead, it's always like, all right, you got one person that might bite it, or maybe 2, but it's never like you don't know where somebody's gonna catch it.
I never relaxed this episode. Even at the end when Elle was just like thinking about Max and spinning the bottle, I was like, is Vector about to walk in this room right now? Like, I didn't know. Like, I was glad it was Hopper that came in there, but the music they were playing, I'm like, is Vecna about to walk in here and ruin this girl day? Like right now? Like, I still got you, girl. Like, what's up? You thought like that was gonna be where they cut it. I was prepared to just be all messed up.
Besides the Hellmouth opening up across the town, this felt like a series finale. Like, this felt like a series finale in a lot of ways to me. Like, everybody was just getting to their endpoints, and I was, I don't know. So I didn't feel anybody was safe.
Okay, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, Hawkins is done.
So that's what I was gonna say. Like, one of you guys was talking about like how you wish Elle would have done this quicker, or somebody would have done that quicker. It really doesn't even matter. Even the dude that was fighting with fighting with Lucas, I was glad he died. But the way
I was shocked about that too.
The way that he died, and just you start to see the devastation of the town and houses being engulfed. Bruh, it don't even matter what their plans were. It's over because based on Nancy's vision that she saw that they didn't show us, the Duffer Brothers didn't show us, she just verbalized it with exposition. She said that a big creature came out and an army of creatures came with it. We haven't seen that fulfilled yet. And she just verbalized that.
And that's the crazy thing. That's what was kind of weird to me. In one part, they're in a shelter, looks like in a school gym somewhere, giving out sandwiches, and he's panned over and the city is burning. Like, I understood everybody leaving as they was coming in. That makes sense. I don't understand why people are still in the town. like so, I don't get this at all.
So that's the thing about like if you go to different like cities and stuff like that have like hurricane victims or tornado victims that like are used to like natural disasters. There are some people that just stay because there's nowhere else for them to go. Because honestly, the Wheelers should have been out, bro. If I was them, I've been like, oh heck no. This are y'all believing this the earthquake? You have all these deaths, you have your kids not know where they're at, and now like half the town has been engulfed into a sinkhole.
But you heard what the dad said. He's like, it's just the media blowing things out of
That's
proportion.
what I'm saying. The Wheelers
I think that's
crazy,
crazy.
bro.
I think that's crazy to me. I'm like, what earthquake do y'all know look
Right.
like that? Don't know earthquake look like that in the shape of a giant X with like blood orange glow coming from the ground. I'm like, man, this
homie.
is y'all crazy.
This is like that movie that was about the apocalypse, all the celebrities stuck in the house, and then hell opened up
Don't
outside
look
the
up.
front door. Yeah, it was like, what the heck is this? And the way the bully melted, you can't tell me only 22 people died when this thing opened.
Oh no,
Like,
no.
Oh no.
No. The way Jason melted, I'm like, man, a lot of folks, because I watched, because that gate was opening through houses, through churches, through schools. I'm like, man,
Right.
because as soon as it was like,
you're like, I ain't believe it either.
right,
You're like, I ain't believe it either.
no, 'cause as soon as it was like, 22 people, 22 dead, and hundreds missing, I'm like, nah, they ain't missing.
Ain't missing.
They ain't missing. Ain't none of them showing up. Ain't none of them showing up.
Look, I don't care if we only got bikes. We get out of town. Wait, this ain't a hurricane. This ain't we're gone.
Okay, but I'm just glad that there were people leaving because they were getting out of Dodge. I was like, that was so happy for me to see. I know Aunt.
Like,
I told you, I was like, Aunt, they're leaving. They're leaving, Aunt.
Right. Like I was.
Should
Really
have been all the black families. All the black families.
Right. Well, that's the thing, and that's what's so funny, because I know all this stuff going on is Stranger Things. I was sitting here thinking, because I was laughing. I'm like looking at where Lucas and Erica were, and I'm like, that's the least realistic thing about this whole show. If you had some if you had some black parents and somebody said it was some devil worshippers on the loose killing children, you now
look, that mama's burning his D&D book. She burning his D&D book. She gonna throw some holy water on it. Don't you bring that trade? But mama, those my D. It's not. Nope. Get in the car. Get in the car.
It made me think about.
And you go to church 5 days a week from now on.
It made me think about Dean Thomas in Harry Potter. There's a scene in one of the books when all this stuff is going down with Voldemort and all that, and he was like, "My parents are Muggles. I ain't told none of them nothing." He's like, "Because I know if I told them anything, they would never let me come to this school." And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, it's news clips talking about kids being murdered, and
you would not be allowed out the house. You would not be allowed out the house.
Right.
Not spending the night nowhere.
Right. Because this the same time, I think all those murders, those child murders happening down in Atlanta, if we're looking at the timelines right. So
there'd be a bunch of conspiracy. You know it's only happened to us, right? You know only we disappear. Now there could be 100 ways. It doesn't matter. You know what's happening. You know what they try and get rid of us again. None of this is happening to us. None of this is happening. And there's a roving band of white kids hunting down black little girls.
Right. That's not a thing. That's not a thing in any way, shape, or form. Right. And so it was, that whole episode was stressful, and it was funny because they did a great job balancing out the ooh hell yeah with damn this sucks. Like they did such a good job balancing that out, because man, when you first saw Vecna about to kill Max, and all of a sudden he just got pulled back, and you see 11 barefoot slowly walking in, I was like, oh, start the Stone Cold Steve like theme song, like let's go, like and it, like there was so many moments. I'm gonna let Ant. I ain't gonna take Eddie's scene away from you. I'm gonna let you talk about that. But there was so many epic moments in there, like between Hop, like with the sword, and everybody got their hell yeah moment, because like we talked about earlier, like Lucas finally beating that bully and being like, I never want to be like you, and I'm like, man, we don't really got time for a speech, but I appreciate it, right? Like I was like, you should just knocked about that would have been done, like that should have been it. But they did a great job just making you feel every single emotion in the spectrum several times. I'm like, man, this is just, can this please be over? Because that was one thing I kept doing. I kept like looking at how much time was left, and I'm like, Jesus, I can't do this. I'm stressed.
But speaking of the most metal moment that has happened on this show, the moment is going to be on right now. Someone's not spray painting this on the side of a panel van right now. I am disappointed in our culture today. Is Eddie on the roof of that what do you call it? Mobile home, just plugging in his amps. Yes, the amp man, and like Dustin is like he don't even care what's going on. He's just rocking his head like. If you didn't want an air guitar, I don't care where you live. I don't care if they can call you white. If you didn't want an air guitar, I got to question your soul. I got to question your ethics if you watch this show. No, go ahead and say it.
I also loved Dustin just sitting there smiling and vibing with him. He's just like, ooh, that's my boy. That's my boy.
I was like,
Master of Puppets, baby. Metallica. Let's go.
I was like, Steve got competition. This might be new Big Bro.
Right.
This might be new Big Bro. Because that was the coolest thing ever. And and he's just counting down. He's like, yeah, 30 seconds, but keep on going. Don't stop.
He's like, 30 seconds, let me go ahead and hit this solo real quick. Like, he was going.
I feel like, hey, just 10 seconds, but go ahead. You got more time. I was like, yeah. Look, yeah. It was happening the same time as Max is running for her life, going through the different like houses and whatnot. Yeah. It just amped everything up. I can't remember. Was the stuff going on in Russia at the same time too when he was doing this?
Oh yeah. It was always stuff popping off in Russia.
Look. They need to bring this man's ghost back during every final battle of this show until it ends. Like I just need his. It's like, hey, just so you know, Eddie made this mixtape. Hold on, let me just put this here real quick. Like, you have the Hellbats, the Red Lightning, this. When they do art from the show, you know this is going to be a piece. You know there's going to be a piece.
Right. Oh, yeah, and they had all kinds of desktop backgrounds in these last 2 episodes.
Look, I've listened to this part like 3 more times since I've watched the episode. Hey. And that's...
No, I was going to say, so are y'all going to give a memorandum for Eddie? Because, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. They've killed a lot of characters I've liked, but nothing like Eddie, bro. Eddie, low-key, he could have been the front and center of season 5 for me. I love Eddie as a character. Like, Jacob, he not only played the character perfectly, I loved Eddie. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, the way that Eddie
man?
I didn't do that. I was mad. I didn't do it. I got a baby in my hand.
Now, we getting filmed and whatnot. Gonna have me shed these tears on live like that? That's forever.
Look, hold on the way that Eddie went out, Eddie stopped. He stopped his bike, looked back, and was like, I ain't running no more. And then proceeds to get his shield, get his little sword, and he starts murking these bats. And he was doing good for a while.
Look, he cut the line so...
He was on for a while, but...
He cut the line so Dustin couldn't come. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yo, Dustin might be crippled out of that joint, low-key.
Yeah. He was limping hard.
Got his shield. And then I was like... And the thing is, I don't really think that Eddie did anything for buying more time dying. Like, I don't think him going out there bought any more time.
He kept the bats from going into Hawkins, though. I think that's what happened.
Oh,
the portal. The gate was wide open.
The gate was wide open.
The gate and just wreaked havoc. So I think him doing that definitely saved the town, and that's why we have this moment.
I mean, the Hellmouth opened up like an hour later, but
it was like 5 minutes. No, it was like 5 minutes later, but yeah, it was.
It hurt. He hurt me too, Peanut. It hurt me.
But but like, man, when he's sitting, when Dustin gets to him and he's holding him and he's like, I didn't run away this time, man. I was like, bro. And he said, I'm graduating. Like, this is my year. And I was like, man.
I was getting real teary-eyed. Between him and Max, I was just like bawling. Yeah. I'm just like, nah, not Eddie. He's supposed to make it to season 5.
Right.
But
Now, Eddie, the thing about Eddie is I had prepared myself for Eddie's death because I was still thinking the whole time because they were like,
prison.
"Oh no, they keep killing off new characters," and I was like, "Yep," and they're still gonna. Like that was in my mind like the whole time because in my mind there was no way to clear his name, and I was like, they're not gonna have him just on the run for the rest of his life. Like there's no way to do that, and so I had a bad feeling about him the whole time because they even said it in the show when he's talking to Steve and he's like, I'm not the hero. I'm not the first one up the bat. Like he was like, that's not me. And I'm like, it's gonna be at some point.
Yeah, of course he was. Like that. It was obvious, but at the same time, he kind of. A part of me still had a little bit of hope.
And
It would have been. It just sucks that no one knows what he really did, like how he stood up and he wasn't guilty. I think that's what hurts me the most. It's like he died and no one knows what he did except for
I was so happy
that matter. But I'm just saying, and that's what made me bawl even further with the scene with Dustin and the uncle, because at least the uncle has peace now that he Eddie died a hero and he wasn't guilty. There are people that know that he wasn't guilty, so I guess he can take some comfort in that. It was just still sad.
It was. When Uncle goes to the bulletin board and he has to take down the old missing persons flags, they mark satanic stuff on it and put a new one up. He's like, I gotta talk to you. Got nothing we talk about. My boy innocent, like da da da. And you have that scene that hurt me. But I was gonna say, guys, in a D&D party, if you know anything about D&D, Eddie Munson was the bard. And it always hurts when the bard gets killed. All my D&D people know what I'm talking about. Wasn't the front round fighter, but he kept the morale of he's still vital to the party. And I thought,
and so like I said, and so what was so crazy about that, because I was talking about the music placement. The song they played when Eddie was dying was the same song that they played in the season 1 finale when Hopper is trying to revive Will, and you're getting flashbacks of his daughter passing away. Like it was it was the same song, and they kept it playing right into when Max is talking to Lucas, and she's like, I can't see or feel anything. I don't want to die. I'm not ready. And that was just, they just made a concoction of pain. Like it was just, whew.
Yeah, when she was like, I can't see, I was like, no, this ain't good. This ain't good. Because I was like, okay, we can fix some broken bones. But I was like, nah, see her butt. I was like, nah, this is not good at all.
And like, she bleeding from her eyes and she can't see or feel anything. And that's when I was worried. But at the same time, I'm even more worried about next season because Elle brought her back to life. Elle made her heart keep beating, but essentially it seems like she's brain dead, but she's not brain dead because we saw she was breathing on her own. It wasn't like they had her hooked to a respirator, but she was in a coma. Yeah. And so what I'm thinking, because one of the things that Vecna said, which we haven't even touched on the backstory we got about Vecna in episode 9, about how he's been the big bad this whole time. But one of the things that they said was that Vecna takes everything. Like he takes everything, he consumes it all, and it's almost like he feeds on it. And so I think he has her mind. So I think in order for her to come back, they're gonna have to either take Vecna out or Vecna's gonna possess her next season.
That could be interesting because we do know that the Mind Flayer likes to possess people.
Right.
I think our consciousness is probably with him somewhere in the Upside Down, because I think we got a scene where Elle went and tried to talk to her telepathically and she wasn't there. Yeah. I was kind of out of it. So when she brought her back to life, did she place her hand on her chest or something like that and just telepathically restart her heart, or like, is that what happened?
That's what happened because they didn't really show it. Elle was just like, no, you can't die. And then she held her hand out, and then it cut to 2 days later.
Oh, okay. See, I thought like I said, I was going through some stuff. I thought I like phased out and phased back in. I was like, oh, what did I miss? It was fighting back the 2. So I know, and when she was reaching out, I was worried they're gonna give like Elle some healing powers. I don't want them to make Elle too overpowered because there has to be stakes. Unless it's the last episode, then you can do whatever you want with her powers. But yeah, man, the fact that she survived all this, Max has really grown on us. She's a brave character, a fighter, somebody that's important to the group. She survived all this through her bravery, and she's their first casualty in a way. If you think about it, like even though she didn't really die, it's kind of she's in a coma. She's blind if she does wake up.
Almost
Like
worse. Right.
yeah, and I'm not saying anything about that. You can live a full and help and beautiful life with injuries, but that's rough. Like that's like you said. Like all right, one of her arms. All right. One of her legs. All right, both her legs. All right, her other arm. All right, you can still heal from this. It's gonna be a little bit. Oh, snap! You can't see, baby girl. Oh,
Yeah, I agree with I almost called you Lucas. I agree with Keaton's theory. I think that Vecna has her consciousness, but I don't think he's going to possess her. I think he's coming through. He's been in the upside down this entire time, and now he's about to go to the real world. I think that what makes more sense from a general standpoint is he releases the big monster. Everything else, all the Demogorgons. This is the weird thing about the Demogorgon situation. The fact that all the Demogorgons started getting pushed through on the Russia's end, then that means that the Upside Down. That means that the Upside Down ranges worldwide. We don't know how vast the Upside Down actually is.
I don't think they were getting pushed through on Russia's side. I think Russia brought them from Hawkins. Because remember when they were all under there, and it's like, hey, remember that monster you guys were talking about? How big was it? And then it showed on some cages that the Russians had. And so I think the Russians got a Demogorgon and just brought it from Hawkins. Same thing. I don't know how they got us to the Mind Flayer, because they talked specifically about how they were not able to open a gate themselves. And so I really think that everything that we saw in Russia were repercussions of stuff they brought back from season 3 underneath the mall.
Yeah, no, that was we mentioned that like in episode 7 that it was pretty much they brought stuff back from Hawkins, especially the Mind Flayer, because otherwise we would have known where the Mind Flayer was. Right. But now I'm just wondering, so are we finally done with the Mind Flayer? It didn't seem like he possessed anybody once everyone was up in flames. Where else did he go?
So I think that might have just been a small piece of him.
So the last time when it got pushed out of Will, they pushed it back into the Upside Down. But the Mind Flayer is in our world. And so just because they killed that Demogorgon doesn't lead me to believe that it's just going to get away, because it's too easy. I think the reality is that now that the conditions of everything is being built so that the Upside Down is in present. I think that everything that we don't know about how many of them there is or what the Mind Flayer can be, I think it's going to be fulfilled in the 5th season, honestly. Because I was worried that, okay, well, as soon as Elle does that, what happens if the Mind Flayer possesses Will again? But Will now said something that was key that I hadn't seen yet, was that he said, now that I realize that Vecna the whole entire time was a big part of this and shaped, this entity, I can feel him. I can see where he's at. I feel like now they're going to need Will more than they ever have, because he's the only one that can really truly locate where Vecna is going to be, what's Vecna is going to do, now that it's like in the real world, which is fascinating. That's something to give Will to do. I really want Will to have powers. I'm not going to lie to you. That's
me too.
That's what I was low-key hoping. I want latent powers activated, or because he got possessed by the Mind Flayer, he has similar abilities, and then he could. And I thought it was interesting when he reunited with Elle. I'm sorry, we're going back to episode 8 real quick. He actually got emotional towards Elle, which was surprising because I felt like he had this like antagonistic, feelings toward her just a little bit, not completely, but I felt like that was the first time we actually felt like he cared about Elle.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
season.
I think
I
that
felt they were
this
family.
season, yeah, like exactly, like that was his sister. Like he's pissed that his sister has the man that he loves, but it's still his sister at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
I think that's what it really boiled it down to. That was a beautiful moment. In real life, they are best friends too, which is cool.
Oh, that is cool. That was a great moment. Joyce and Hopper getting together and what you want for to eat was a good moment. I know we're going back to 8 too. Like that was a really good moment. Kind of she used his back scratches to come across like, what did they do to you? I just want to come over here. like I thought that was a good moment. I want Will to have powers too. I don't want him to have L powers though. I want him to have something like he can mind control Demogorgons or something. Like I want Will to have something where it could just be that he has a danger sense. He can tell who's possessed and who's not possessed by him. You know what I mean?
I want
just a little bit, just something that enhances like some abilities. Like that would be awesome.
Honestly, I don't even know if I want it to enhance, but I want it to end up being that the biggest mistake Vecna and the Mind Flayer made was going after Will. That's what I want. I want that to be the biggest mistake. Like out of all the people, you messed up when you went after him because now you gave him the power to take y'all out. And so I don't know where they head with this, but I was just blown away by that ending scene when it just started when it just started kind of raining down the particles, and then they walked to the edge where, if you noticed, all the flowers were already starting to die and it was already starting to spread. And you see the smoke billowing out from those cracks becoming the thunder, and I'm sitting there looking because I'm like, y'all still think this normal? Like y'all, it ain't dawned on y'all yet that this might not be a regular earthquake. Like it's kind of mind blowing to me. Like the government hasn't stepped in yet and just been like, y'all get out. This is gonna be a quarantine zone. No, nothing in, nothing out. And another thing too is I thought the Duffer Brothers had also said, yeah, that shot right there. Another thing too that's interesting, I thought the Duffer Brothers had said that there's going to have to, because everyone's getting older, there was going to be a significant time skip between this season and season 5.
No,
I don't know how they're going to be able to do that. I honestly think that might just be them kind of throwing people off, because I don't see how you can have a time skip at this point the way that they left all that.
Wait. What's another 80s like kind of movie thing? Are we gonna get like a Mad Max dystopia area in the United States, or like zombies or something? I don't know what this is. I just love the fact that they're bringing 80 tropes into here. Like this could be No Man's Land. I don't know what. So that could be cool.
It's gonna be like Red Dawn, like kids versus
Red Dawn.
Yeah. It's gonna be
that's what you got there. That Red Dawn was that was
Red Dawn.
It's gonna be something like that, because I don't know where they leave it. But one thing Owens has been saying this whole season, like, look, if we're gonna win this war, it's gonna be because of her. And now more than ever, it's like we're gonna need something. We're gonna need 8 to come back. We're gonna need Will to unlock some abilities. We're gonna need my boy to make some more pizza. Like we're gonna need everybody. It's gonna be a joint team effort.
I'm just glad that Elle has something else that she can eat other than Eggos. Some tells me pineapples and pizza is gonna gain in popularity, or there's gonna be a surge of orders.
It's already bad. It's already bad out here. They already turned it into the upside down.
I was about to say this started back then. I don't know who to blame for pineapple pizza. I got a dip, but one thing I was mad about real quick, I was like, they were starting to fix up that campus like Elle was gonna live there again. Like people, there's plenty of abandoned houses now. She don't gotta live in this campus.
Well, that's one thing I'm worried about too, because the government is still very much after her. Right.
So that's a good point too. The guy's still alive, and now that she's technically killed soldiers, U.S. soldiers, and military equipment. He's not gonna write the report like, yeah, she killed them, but I mean they had it coming. That's not how reports get written. So yeah,
and now this event too. So
yeah. So and it happened when she went back, right? So she's gone back. For all they know, the timeline they don't care about. A hellmouth opened up. Right. So does this end with Elle's death? Does it end with Elle and the kids on the run? Does this whole series end? Because like Eddie Munson, I don't see unless somebody else from the government high up comes in to like clear her. I don't see a happy path for Elle to just stay in Hawkins, or not. Well, Hawkins is screwed, but stay a normal life with her friends. You know what I mean? Like that's another '80s trope of kids on the run.
So I honestly think, I know y'all can't see me, but I honestly think that if anybody's gonna find a way of clearing her, sorry, can y'all hear me?
Was that the suspense? Were you building the suspense?
If anybody's gonna find a way of clearing her, it's gonna be Owens. Owens is gonna find a way of clearing her because he's already, unearthed her from a location, brought in to kind of witness protection. But the thing is, that general crossed him. He's gonna find a way of showing that Elle is the only reason why we're still alive. Now, whether or not the general is gonna look at it like, we got to cut our losses, I don't know. But yeah, I think by the end of it, for sure, Owens is gonna find a way if she survives. Realistically, I don't know if she will. But yeah. It was a great season. Last thing I can kind of say. I truly loved everything about this season. I think it's the strongest season. If I went back and started the whole entire thing as a whole, like, dude, I could rewatch this thing from beginning to end. I love the characters more. I think it's visually amazing. They spent such a huge amount of budget on just the soundtrack alone. Yeah, man, I loved it, dude. I loved the last episode too.
Yeah, it was something special. It was definitely something special. I really enjoyed it. I do think it's the strongest season so far. They went another level this season. They really did. Between the first season and this one, this was just they've been building it up every season, making the stakes higher. And so it's season 5 is going to be very, very different because they lost at the end of this season. Like, they lost people, but in general, they lost. Like, Vecna won this one. And
they literally just survived. That's the way that I look at it. They survived the battle.
Yeah, I did get mad though because I was like, Nancy, shoot in the head. Why are we not shooting in the head
with a shotgun? How did you miss?
Shotgun? That's why I thought you got the shotgun in the first place, because you wanted to shoot in the head.
It's a big old dome.
I was like, come on, man.
It was a big old dome. It's a big target.
Exactly.
I was kind of like Steve. I was mad at Steve. I was like, Steve, bro, use that gosh darn axe on your back.
He cut off the head of the vampire. Come on. Ugh. I know it's not a vampire, but you know what I'm trying to say. You cut off the head of a vampire in order to kill him. There are ways. No, the axe didn't get to use that at all, except for maybe to cut the web for the the vines or whatever.
Yeah, no, but
he was laying down. Yep, that would have been the perfect time to cut off the head or at least shoot the head. I can't.
Dude, that man escaped like Michael Myers, bro. And that was the classic 80s trope. I was that man better not be gone. He was out. And I was like, y'all did all this for nothing. That man still got away.
Right.
Like 2 people died for nothing.
Right.
So, but yeah, dude, I'm all the way here waiting for season 5. I wonder if it's gonna take them 3 years to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. But given the amount of time they spent on the budget for this and the graphics, I'm kind of like, if you need to take 2 years, do it. Just make sure it looks good.
They'll take some time. They'll get an even bigger budget after, because honestly, Stranger Things might be the only thing that brings Netflix back. Like, because Netflix been struggling right now, and Stranger Things it set an all-time streaming record this latest season.
Did y'all watch? Or no, Luke? No, Luke. Keaton, when we were watching it, that Netflix shut down.
I know. I'm glad it didn't
As,
happen to me.
as soon as
Facts.
as soon as I started it, I was like, because I had it started on 2 different places. I had it on Apple TV box and then on my computer. And the computer, I was like, yo, this is an error. Like the URL down. I was like, Netflix is down. And I was like, that's amazing. The fact that
Yeah.
happened.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, it was bonkers. It was something else. It was something else. Something pretty wild.
but I gotta attend to this youngin down here. He's giving me a lot of grace right now. But
all right. Yeah, sorry I had to keep hopping off and on, but yeah, had a repairman here. All kinds of stuff's going on here.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah, I enjoyed the season. Yes, I still have my issues with pacing. I do still think the Russia arc was the weakest of the arcs. I just don't feel like. Yes, I think it resolved from season 3, but I just feel like they should have done something else. I don't know.
Really? I thought, see, if I had to pick an arc that I could have done without, I really, after Elle left the boys in California, I thought that was really weak. Like, oh, let's go talk to Dustin's Mormon girlfriend, and let's go to a pizza place and all that stuff. Like, I thought like the part where they like escaped from the people trying to kill them, I did think that was cool. But after that, it was like whenever they showed on them, I just had peace because I'm like, man, I ain't worried about them. Everybody else I'm worried about, but I ain't worried about them at least. So I'll get a chance to relax a little bit.
Yeah, because I do think I'm surprised that the guy didn't have him shoot the civilians because they're in the middle of the desert. They could have easily buried the bodies.
Oh yeah.
But I just don't know if that was low key a setup, knowing that there's a potential that she could escape and then still blame shit on her. Like I just don't know.
Maybe that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, I mean that kind of like got on my nerves a little bit, even though it still worked with everything else that was going on. And I knew they eventually had to get Elle, so they're like together. So I just feel like it was too far away. Whereas at least when Joyce and Hopper were in Hawkins last season, yes, they had a separate story arc, but at least they were kind of like in close proximity.
Right. And
so I guess for them being so far away, are we even going to see Enzo again? Did he at least be transferred to the U.S. or are they going to be calling him for some assistance? Who knows what's going to happen to that prison?
Right.
There's still a little things unresolved. Maybe they've just wrapped it up and saying that's it. I just don't know. But something's telling me he's going to reference it back again at some point.
I think so. I think if so far they haven't given us anything for no reason, I feel like. And so I think everything is going to come back around in the long run, whether it's what they gave that one episode with 8 back in season 2, I think that's going to come back around. I think all the stuff that they did in Russia is going to come back around because Russia's going to see all this. They're going to figure out who escaped. I don't think they're done yet either.
No, especially since the prison facility got murked. Like it's just practically destroyed. So many people dead. The specimens that they've been trying to collect and study and use or try and use in their own devices or whatever, that's gone or destroyed. So yeah they're gonna come out for blood.
And so Yuri and Enzo, I think they're gonna be part of the next season because I don't see how. I highly doubt they stayed in Russia or went back to Russia. Right. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But yeah, the pacing for me again was my main issue, and the Russia I could have taken and left it. And again, the extra bullying wasn't necessary either. I just felt like that just took away from. We could have had more scenes with Jonathan and Will. We could have had more scenes with maybe Erica and Lucas actually bonding because they only really bonded in the between the 8th and 9th episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise they were arguing like regular siblings or maybe low-key hating on each
Right.
other. But yeah, I
Right.
just felt like that could have been better time spent, I think.
Agreed. Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you there. But yeah, I really like this season. Very, very emotional this volume 2, and I cannot wait to see what the Duffer Brothers have up their sleeve. I know they've already talked about a spinoff of some kind, but
We
I
don't need
don't know.
spin-offs. We don't need I just feel like that's milking it a little too much, because there have definitely been spinoffs that just have not worked out. I mean,
Right.
spinoffs struggle to get off the ground. Like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
can we talk about CW? But
We not. We.
no,
ain't even.
I don't
I
even
ain't
watch
even.
those shows, but I just know that they've been
Nope.
struggling to get some
Oh yeah.
spinoffs off the ground. So I'm just like, nah, we don't need spinoffs.
Yeah.
Let's just keep Stranger Things where it is. We've had our run. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
And have memories.
Yeah, and that's what it definitely is going to do. It definitely gives us memories, and I think that's why they're so selective of who they kill off on this show, because all the characters they kill off, we hate it and we're upset by it, but that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. It's like, yeah, you have your main cast that you love, and look, here's someone trying to get in the group and they don't make it, and I think that's going to also have a lasting effect on the group in this next season. If they're gonna be very hesitant to get anyone involved. They're gonna be very hesitant to let anyone get near them, because everyone around them ends up biting it. Like Jonathan and Will watched their mom be happy with Bob for a little while, and then he bit it. Nancy was best friends with Barb, and Barb bit it. Lucas just watched his crazy but still basketball teammate bite it. He just watched his girlfriend get injured and hurt severely. Papa was horrible, but he was still her dad, and so all of them keep losing people that are close. And so it's going to be very interesting. Now Dustin, of course, Dustin had to lose Eddie, and so it's going to be. I'm really wondering how that's going to affect the whole group, because they keep taking L's.
Yeah, and I also think this adds more fuel to Vecna. I just think that now he can really target those close to L. Because it's kind of like peripheral, and he kind of like lucked out with Max because she experienced trauma with Billy, or with losing her stepbrother.
Yeah.
But now that he knows that there is a bond with all of them like that, he's coming. Oh, he's gonna come after them personally.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be personal for him. And now they each have trauma, or enough trauma, that he can really do something with.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. He's also going to be pissed off, because
Exactly.
even though he got his way, they whooped up on him. I mean, Will said it. It's like he's hurting.
Mm-hmm. And he's pissed.
He's hurting, but he gonna be ticked off when he comes back. When he does come back. But
yeah, this is like the second L will win an L for him too, against L and her friends.
Right.
So he wasn't alone this time. It's bad enough that she like got rid of him the first round. This round, he almost died, and she had backup. So yeah, no, he's gonna be petty.
Oh yeah,
Petty.
Yeah. We definitely haven't seen the last of him, and I don't even think we've seen the worst of him.
No.
Yeah, but I think we got everything. I think that covers it. Yep. Let's see. I think Sam told us how to end it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we're talking too much. All right. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Definitely follow us on all forms of social media: TeamJVS, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook. Where can people follow you, Keaton?
Well, yeah, you can find all my videos here at with TeamJVS, but also in the last few months, me and a good friend started a podcast where we break down the psychology of various superheroes. She is a clinical psychologist, and we have a lot of fun with it. It's the Bat Therapy Podcast. You can find it just about anywhere where you can get podcasts at, but at bat-therapy.com as well. But yeah, look us up.
All right, and you can follow me on all forms of social media, WilkAt12 on Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok. So thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll catch y'all next time. We'll definitely, hopefully, get back together for the last season. Who knows?
Definitely.
All right, bye, guys.